Welcome to the Chronic Pleasure Podcast. My name is Karen Laurie, and here we talk about all things pleasurable and what might get in the way. So, somebody asked a question, and the question is perspectives on people pleasing, assertiveness, and authenticity. Those are funny to me. And the reason they're funny is because I think it's really important to please yourself first. Just like you want to, on the airplane, you want to put your mask on first. Pleasing someone else, if it doesn't please you, sucks. So if you're pleased first, and by pleased, meaning you're happy, you feel good, you feel content. And if you're pleased first, you can feel if you have an impulse that is a real loving impulse or an impulse to fix or to please in a way that doesn't feel good. So there's a discernment about what's that impulse of pleasing? What does it feel like when it's in your body? And what does it feel like when you're not doing it? And then it's being aware when you're pleasing or when you're not, which is which. And then for me, I think it's really important to make sure I'm in an aligned state, meaning I'm happy, I feel good, I'm filled with love, I feel joyful. And then from that state, I'm I am pleasing, but I'm not trying to please someone. It's a little different. People get pleased and pleasured by my presence, but I'm not trying to please them. I will praise them because that feels good to me. It feels really good to tell someone that they're handsome or they're beautiful or they're smart or they're capable or they're talented or whatever it is. That feels really good. So I do that because it feels good to me. I like to cook, so I do that because it feels good to me. I'm not trying to please someone else, but everyone I cook for is pleased. So it's listening to what lights you up, what would feel the best to you. And then regarding assertiveness and let me see what the other thing was, assertiveness, pleasing, and authenticity. So I listen for what feels good for me consistently. It's a really selfish thing, but it's selfish in a very healthy way because like I love being of assistance to people. That feels really good to me. But I can't do it if I'm not filled up. So I'm always filling up. I'm always being filled. I'm always feeling resourced. So if somebody invites me to do something, for example, and it's not something that I'm interested in, I'll simply say, thank you so much. I'm not really that interested in that, but I really appreciate the offer. Do you want to try something else? You know? And then they might offer me something else and I'll say, "Oh yeah, that feels better," you know? So I'm listening on what feels right for me. I don't ever go out of my way. I never go run on empty. I never go, without having my mask, my airplane mask on out into the world where I'm depleted. I won't go do anything if I'm depleted. And what that does is it first it keeps me extremely healthy, but second, it makes it so that when I am dealing with someone, I'm able to attune to what feels right and what doesn't. I'm open. I like doing new things, so I'm open to new things, but I'm not going to do something just cuz somebody else wants to do it. And one of the things that I like if I travel with somebody is that we can go on our own paths while we travel because I like to explore some things and then somebody else might like to explore something else. And then you come back together and you share. And I think that's a really fun way to travel. It's fun to do other things and do things together, but not everybody has the same interests. Not everybody wants to do the same thing. So I'm really clear when something, I have a back scritch and I have a very good back thing. That feels really good. I'm really clear when something feels good and when I want to do it. And it always feels like my whole body's sort of electrified and I'm like, "Yes." I feel that way a lot. I almost always only get those kind of invitations. And part of it is because I'm so aligned that I attract people that get me and that want to please me. Not in a bad way, but they wanna enjoy something that they know I would enjoy. And so I get invited to fun events, or I get invited to fun restaurants, or I get invited to fun experiences, or lots of things like that, and they're all pretty much they're all yeses. If somebody were gonna invite me to someplace that I didn't wanna go, I would just simply be honest and say, "That doesn't feel I don't feel comfortable doing that," or "That doesn't feel like something I wanna do." Um, Regarding authenticity, so I have a different definition of authenticity than most people. Most people think of authenticity as sharing the negative stuff about themselves. For me, authenticity seems to be sharing our spirits, sharing who we really are, the deeper truth of who we are. So I practice knowing who I really am by focusing in a way that feels amazing about myself. And I focus in that way, and it's something I've talked about on the podcast, and I can talk about it more another time, but it's something I focus on about myself so that I really understand that I'm a gift, that I'm a contribution, that I'm a benefit, that I'm a blessing. But I also understand that you're a gift, you're a contribution, you're a benefit, you're a blessing. You're important, you're valuable, you're worthy, you're good. I know that about you, and I know it about myself. And part of that practice of me knowing that helps me be in my authentic self. My authentic self, meaning for myself, that part of myself that's aligned with who I really am. My part of myself that is my best self. I'm not trying to be my best self to please someone else. I'm being my best self because it feels so good. It feels amazing. And that's the kind of authenticity that I practice. But I'm also honest, if there was something that was going on, like if somebody wanted to do something and I either wasn't ready for it yet or didn't want to do it, I'd be very clear. And I'd just say it in a gentle, kind way. There's a thing, like with assertiveness, I'm I'm strong, but I'm gentle, I'm kind. So I just speak about things in a kind and gentle way. I speak about it in a clear way, but it's kind and it's gentle and it's clear. And I don't make someone feel bad, even if it's something I don't want to do. Or, I mean, they can feel bad if they want to feel bad, but I'm not trying to make them feel bad. So I might simply say something like, "Oh, I don't feel comfortable doing that." And that's it. That's all I say. Or I might say, "Oh, no, thank you." And that's it. I don't have to be I don't have to explain myself and go into a whole thing. That doesn't work. That is people pleasing. And instead, I just practice staying in my presence, in my alignment, and being aware and alert to all the goodness that person is doing or being, and allowing it to unfold around me. And I don't want somebody to people please me either. I want people around me to be confident and to be in their authentic self. And then they naturally want to do things. I naturally like to cook for people. I naturally love that. I naturally like to praise people. I naturally like to play with people. I naturally like to work out with people. All of those things are really natural for me. I like to sing, dance, all that stuff. Those are really fun for me. So I like doing all those things. And if you can get aware of the things that you really like doing with others, it will seem like you're very generous, but it's just something you enjoy. And the other person, if they're doing what they enjoy, you'll be able to appreciate how generous they are, but it's something they're just enjoying. So it's a win-win in every way because you're appreciating all the goodness that they're doing. They're appreciating the goodness you're doing. You're both staying centered in what feels best for you, and you're both being a benefit to yourselves and to each other. And I think it's really important. They talk about there's this thing called seva, which means selfless service. And I think seva is great as long as you are full of yourself, meaning you're full of love, you're full of joy. If you're doing seva and you're tired, you don't have any way to benefit people. Or if you're out of alignment, you can't really benefit people. So Seva is a way of nourishing yourself first, so then out of that nourishment comes who you really are, your authentic self, which then allows you to be pleasing without pleasing someone, without trying to please them. So I never try to people please anymore. Boy, did I do it when I was before. I used to do it all the time. It's a terrible thing. The other thing that happens if you try to people please, this is just stuff I did that was terrible, is I'd say, "Oh, I'll fix this, I'll help this, I'll do this, I'll do this," and I would overcommit myself to do all this stuff and then feel guilty if I didn't do it. Don't do that. That's not healthy. Don't volunteer to do something unless you know you wanna do it, and it feels really good when you think about doing it. So I don't do anything unless I really wanna do it. If I don't wanna do it, I will get somebody that I can delegate to do it, and I'll be honest. If it involves other people, I'll say, "No, I don't feel comfortable doing that," and that's it. And there's nothing to argue about because it's just an emotion. I don't feel comfortable doing that. And so that practice of pleasing yourself first, and that practice of expressing yourself with kindness, gentleness, love, the practice of knowing that somebody might wanna do something and it might not be your thing, but it's not a big deal. They can do that with somebody else, and you can do what you like with somebody else or by yourselves, doesn't matter. And then the practice of being your authentic self, who you really are. That's the best practice you can do, because when you're really authentic, you know what's right for you and you do it and it pleases everyone. When others are authentic, when they're aligned with who they really are, they naturally are fun to be with. It's easy to be with them. It's easy to love them. So the more you can be authentic, please yourself, and speak with kindness and honesty and gentleness, you won't ever be people pleasing, but people will be pleased with you. If you want to learn more, you can go to chronicpleasurebook.com, chronicpleasurebook.com, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you.